Nothing matters except for us.
Yeah.
I've been a software developer professionally for about 4 years now. Seems like forever. I'm just kidding. And there are so many things I wish I knew when I first started, and that I continue to discover along my way, even being almost half a decade in. And I really want to talk about them today to you, especially for people who are self-taught. And I know the definition of self-taught can really vary person to person. Is self-taught someone who has completely had no help from anyone? Is self-taught someone who has had a mentor but hasn't gone to a boot camp? Or does it include going to a boot camp? For me, I did go to a coding boot camp, but I still consider myself self-taught. I didn't go the computer science route and get a computer science degree.
That's done, gone under the sun.
Okay, I had to go and grab a coffee, or in this case, matcha, to continue this conversation. But I really wanted to sit down and have a very candid conversation with you today about being a self-taught programmer and what that really, some challenges, I guess, that can really bring up. And I think I get so many messages every day from people saying, I want to learn how to code, I want to be a developer, I want to be a programmer, which is amazing. But there are so many things that are put in your way to stop you from actually achieving that, and I really want to break down some of those. And I'm going to sit down with you today later on in this video and talk about some as well. But one of the main ones being, for me anyways, even 4 years into this job, is so many days I feel like I don't belong. And I'm not saying that because anyone else is making me feel that way. It's just thoughts in my head where I feel like, oh, maybe you aren't skilled enough, or maybe you don't deserve to be in this room. Maybe you don't have the knowledge or background that these people do. And almost everyone I work with is not doesn't come from a self-taught background, which is fine. It's totally amazing. A lot of companies, there are tons and tons of people who come from a self-taught background. It's just different circumstances. But it just sometimes makes me feel so alone in the process. And I just had this realization the other day of, there is absolutely no reason I should feel that way. And why I say that is because, I'm doing the work, I'm getting promoted, I'm growing, my skills are there. So why am I having these thoughts? Why am I having this massive imposter syndrome? And there are so many different, and this is just another roadblock but different thing that is put in front of me that I need to overcome. And I think one thing about self-taught programmers is we have to overcome so much, which really makes you stronger and more resilient, and in the end I think makes you almost a better person, because not better than anyone else, but just better for yourself, because there are so many different challenges you will need to face along the way. So many times where you will feel self-doubt, where you will question your decision and your process and wonder if this was the right decision. And just know that that is normal, and that is okay to feel that way. You're not alone, and I think it'd be weird if you didn't feel that way. Coffee break.
All that's said is done.
So good. Anyways, let's go back home, let's sit down, and let's dive deeper into this. Aside from those conversations around not feeling good enough, or not feeling as though we are, that there's something that's missing, or just not feeling good enough, there are a lot of other things that pop into your mind, especially when you are deciding what path to choose. Should I do front end? Should I do back end? Do I specialize in blockchain? Do I specialize in AI? Can I specialize in these things? And these are all thoughts that I really had too when I was first starting, but not just first starting, thoughts that I still have. Did I choose the right path to go down? What if this technology becomes obsolete? Is my job going to become obsolete? These are all questions I have quite frequently, and I just want to break down for you how I navigate them. When it comes to as far as choosing front end or back end, I'm going to share with you my story of how I chose which one. Right now I do front end, but I also am very proficient in back end. It just depends what project I'm working on and what it requires. When I first started as a developer, I thought back end was the way to go. And honestly, the reason I thought that was because I thought it must pay more, it must be harder, it's more of a cooler, sexier job. This is not the case at all. Front-end work can be as difficult, it can be as complex, and it can pay just as much. And I really wanted to highlight that because I think a lot of people feel as though back-end is superior to front-end, and I really don't believe that. I just think it's different people for different roles. For me, when I started out, I thought back-end, but
I couldn't grasp a lot of the main back-end concepts right off the bat. So I finally gave in and decided to go to front-end because that was an area where I was excelling in. And I'm so glad I didn't let my stubbornness get in the way or my ego get in the way of thinking I needed to do back-end, because once I started to do more front-end and get those skills and get more comfortable with coding in general, I was able to, in my first job, actually transition into back-end development quite easily. So whatever path you pick, whether it be front-end, back-end, or specializing in a specific kind of cloud or blockchain, anything like that, you do not need to stay in that path forever. And I really wanted to highlight that because we put so much pressure on ourselves to have our whole career figured out from day one. Another thing I really want to highlight and talk about here is the importance of mentorship and networking. And I can't stress this enough. Getting into tech, getting into this industry and being in this industry, it can be overwhelming, whether you are on year 1 or year 20. And having mentorship or people to look up to is, in my opinion, essential in succeeding. Having someone that you can talk to and pick their brain about their career path or what they would do or steps they have taken will really, really help you in navigating your career and getting to the next step. Doing anything in life alone typically isn't that fun, and the same comes with your career, your job, and whether you're starting out or currently in the industry, having others to support you along the way is essential. Now, there are so many ways to find a mentor, and I think the first thing is just go out there and get one. And I know that sounds kind of obvious and maybe a silly statement to make, but I get asked so much about how to find this perfect mentor, where do I find one? And at some point you just need to take initiative and go get one. Go on LinkedIn, go on mentorship websites, reach out. I did for a while there, I reached out on websites that you could hire tutors, and I just hired a tutor. Like, you know, if you're not in a place where you can afford a tutor, that's fine. There are so many different free resources out there. You just need to Google. That's all you need to do. Google or go on LinkedIn and start reaching out to people. Yes, it's uncomfortable, and yes, it sucks putting yourself out there, but you will see the benefits of it when you start doing it. This whole path of self-taught programmers, it's not an easy one. And when you get in the industry, it gets easier to a degree, but you face new challenges, different challenges. And you will see over time, looking back, just how far you've come and that you were able to conquer one challenge after another. And it gets more enjoyable to conquer these challenges. But I really just wanted to be honest and candid about these challenges you will face at really any stage in your career, because it's not all perfect, it's not all glamorous. And I know tech right now is an industry is really glamorized as a money-making industry where you can make a lot of money quickly and grow quickly. And yeah, that is all amazing aspects to it, but there are also the negatives and the not so glamorous sides to it that I really wanted to just be transparent about. At the end of the day, your future is in your hands, and I know it sounds kind of cheesy, but it's so true. You're just going to have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations with growing and continue to remind yourself that you're there for a reason. You deserve to be there just as much as anyone else does, and that's what really helped me, I would say, is just sometimes I know some people don't agree with this statement, but sometimes you really do need to fake it till you make it, because you're not actually faking it, you just feel like you are. So even carrying that slogan on for a while, it really helped me get through tough times. And then looking back, I realized I wasn't faking it, but in my mind I was. Just keep on pushing forward until you get to where you need to be. Okay, thank you all for watching this video. I hope you found it valuable and insightful. I just wanted to share my perspective and my experience as a self-taught programmer. It's not always glamorous, and even if you aren't a self-taught programmer, it's not always glamorous, but having these tips or this insight, I hope it will prepare you for your career journey and some of the more tougher things you will face. Thanks for watching this video. If you found it valuable or helpful, make sure to give it a like. Also hit that subscribe button for more tech and coding related videos, and I'm gonna go get some lunch now. See you, everyone.
Said it loud, it's the truth. Baby wanna ride, she can ride.